Over the past 24 hours, several developments across multiple regions have quietly added pressure to the global strategic environment. None of these events represent an immediate nuclear threat. None require a change in the current DEFCON level. But taken together, they reflect continued erosion in diplomatic stability, arms control confidence, and long-term deterrence predictability. This is the DEFCON warning system. This is the DEFCON warning system stability briefing for the 24th of December 2025. At present, we remain at condition green, DEFCON 5. There are no imminent nuclear threats at this time. Today, we are monitoring 3 developments from the last 24 hours that warrant attention, not for what they change today, but for how they may shape the risk environment moving forward. The United States and Iran exchanged sharp public statements at the United Nations over the future of Iran's nuclear program, underscoring how far apart the two sides remain. Washington has reiterated that any renewed agreement must include strict limits on uranium enrichment. Tehran continues to reject those conditions, arguing they violate its rights under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. While both sides formally reaffirmed a commitment to diplomacy, there has been no indication of progress toward a viable framework for renewed talks. This diplomatic stalemate matters not because of immediate escalation, but because prolonged uncertainty increases the risk of miscalculation, particularly as Iran continues enrichment activity and international sanctions pressure intensifies. For now, the situation remains contained but unresolved. Fighting in Ukraine continues with no meaningful movement toward a ceasefire, and renewed concern has been raised about the proximity of conventional combat operations to nuclear-related infrastructure. Recent reporting highlights ongoing risks to containment and protective structures associated with legacy nuclear facilities, including areas linked to the Chernobyl exclusion zone. While there has been no radiological release, and no indication of intentional targeting of nuclear assets at this time, the situation again illustrates how conventional warfare near nuclear-sensitive sites introduces non-zero strategic risk. This remains an indirect concern, but one that persists as long as the conflict continues without stabilizing mechanisms in place. A new U.S. Department of Defense assessment warns that China continues to rapidly expand and modernize its military capabilities, including its nuclear forces, missile systems, and supporting command and control infrastructure. The report highlights accelerated development of nuclear delivery systems, hypersonic weapons, and space-based capabilities, trends that could reduce decision time in a future crisis and complicate deterrence calculations. Importantly, this assessment does not suggest imminent conflict. However, it reinforces concerns that great power competition is increasingly shifting into domains where escalation control is more complex and less forgiving. This is a long-term structural issue, not a short-term crisis, but one that will shape strategic stability for years to come. None of today's developments alter the current DEFCON level. But together, they reflect a world in which diplomatic friction, unresolved conflicts, and expanding nuclear capabilities continue to narrow the margins for error. We will continue monitoring how these conditions evolve. As always, be informed, be prepared, be safe. This is the DEFCON warning system.